anybody besides me think that the WWE Hall of Fame has a lot of glaring omissions to it? I mean, I know they've started doing, back a few years ago, the whole Legends wing of the Hall of Fame, where they used that as the opportunity to induct their, their legends in there that have long since passed, or just legends of the wrestling business. Like, for instance, Dick the Bruiser, who was the first wrestler I ever got to watch. And, there's Bruiser Brody, who, from what I understand, his wife didn't even know that they were putting him into the Hall of Fame in the Legends wing. So, that's a little shady to me. I don't like that idea. It sounds to me like it's just a way for them to put people in without having to go through the trouble of having a big old speech by them, or not by them, obviously, but by, their widows or their children or grandchildren, whatever. It's I think they need to really take the opportunity while some of these people are still here that deserve to be in, put them in. And one glaring omission I've always said in the Hall of Fame is definitely the tag team division. You don't have what was arguably maybe the greatest tag team champions they ever had, and they were definitely the longest reigning single reign tag team champions ever, and that was Demolition, Axe and Smash. I know there's a lot of heat there with the company that they have, especially Bill Eadie, Axe, over supposedly being sued over trying to use the Demolition name. It was apparently Bill Eadie and the late Randall Cully, who was the original Demolition Smash. He had also wrestled as Moondog Rex, that came up with the gimmick. And unfortunately, they, I guess, did not get it trademarked or whatever, and it allowed Vince and the WWF to kind of seize the rights to it and prevent them from being able to use the name anymore. Which, unfortunately, this is a business. I know that's a little shady, but unfortunately, that's part of the evils of the business. And I think it's a crying shame when you have situations like this and people don't get recognized for their accomplishments. And we've seen in the past Vince has forgiven people, and obviously they must have forgiven him to get into the Hall of Fame. Vern Gagne's in the Hall of Fame, and Vince, a lot of people want to say Vince ran him out of business, even though, let's face it, Vern didn't exactly help his own cause with the way he was. And you got guys like, the Ultimate Warrior made amends with Vince McMahon. Bruno Sammartino, for the longest time, said he would never go into the Hall of Fame because he didn't like how the company and the business in general had changed. How it went from what he felt was a sport to being what Vince would call sports entertainment. And, thank God that before he passed, he was able to let any grudges he had with Vince go, and vice versa. And from what I understand, Triple H was one to really help make that happen. And because, let's face it, it wouldn't be a WWE Hall of Fame without Bruno Sammartino in it. And that would be the biggest omission in the history of the Hall of Fame, is if Bruno Sammartino would not have been eventually inducted into the Hall. And I think, there needs to be more legitimacy to it. I know there's some wrestlers who have said they'll never go into the Hall of Fame by their own choice. I know one of those being Scott Steiner. So as much as the Steiner brothers, in my opinion, deserve to be into the Hall of Fame as a tag team, you're going to have to do a lot of convincing to Scott Steiner to accept that honor. And of course, one of the saddest omissions will always be, in my mind, Owen Hart. You can understand maybe why his widow would not want that induction, and his family would not want that induction. And, I can understand that, but at the same token, I think it's just a crying shame that we'll never see him in the Hall of Fame. And, he if there was anybody as an individual that was deserving to be in the Hall of Fame, it was definitely Owen Hart, God rest him. But, just my little rambling about the WWE Hall of Fame. It just, we got a lot of guys that deserve to be in, I think. Maybe I'm wrong on some of these guys that I think need to be in. Like Bam Bam Bigelow. I know he never won a title, but he was one of the most athletic big men I ever saw. And I saw him when he debuted in 1986 in Memphis Wrestling. He had just come out of the Monster Factory ran by Larry Sharp, and was there to feud with, go figure, Jerry the King Lawler over the Southern Heavyweight Championship. And I just remember watching this big 400-pounder do these cartwheels and drop kicks, and it was like, wow. And I was just so surprised that when he first went to the WWF the first time, that he didn't get the big monster heel run against Hogan for the title, because I think that could have actually drawn some money. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong on that, but I think it could have been big money if Bam Bam Bigelow would have showed up in the WWF the first time he was there and been a monster heel, and one of the guys that was built to do the house show run with Hogan over the title. It would have, I think, been interesting. I don't like giving the Orange Goblin a whole lot of credit, but if there's one thing I will say he was able to do, was have a convincing feud with big men. And I think him and Bigelow probably could have definitely made some money, but I digress. It's sad when you stop and think about all these guys that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and then you look at the people that are put into the Hall of Fame that is like, what? No knock against guys like Coco Beware, but, I don't understand why, he got put into the Hall of Fame, before you had somebody like Bruno Sammartino put in there. Maybe that's a bad example since Bruno is in. But, guys like, the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff, I could be mistaken. I don't even think he's in the Legacy wing. So, and he was the guy that ended the almost 8-year run of Bruno Sammartino. And, that just shocked the wrestling world when he beat Bruno almost basically clean for the championship in Madison Square Garden. And I remember hearing, and I've seen the video. The video is obviously very old and deteriorated. When he beat Sammartino for the title, and the Garden just went silent because they just couldn't believe that the living legend had fallen after almost 8 years as champion. So I think there needs to be a better process as far as who you put in. Vince needs to not be the one that has the final say of going in. If you want to see, a real Wrestling Hall of Fame, I would say go to the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. See who's in that Hall of Fame. That is a legitimate Hall of Fame. There's voting that's done on it by writers and other professionals that follow the business, cover the business, and you got to have a certain percentage, I believe, to get in, just like you would if it was like the Baseball Hall of Fame or the Football Hall of Fame or basketball. But what I would look forward to this upcoming year, next year for the Hall of Fame, is to see some of these guys that have been deserving for a very long time get into the Hall of Fame. They deserve it. I think, Demolition definitely deserves to get recognized and put into the Hall. As much as I love the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, my all-time favorite tag team, and to me, they will be the all-time greatest tag team in the history of wrestling. Demolition, even though they were considered to be copycats of the Road Warriors, you know, they had the longest run as the tag champions. I don't even argue with me about the New Day being the longest reigning tag champions ever, because the difference there is Demolition didn't lose non-title matches normally. They were put in there, they went in, they won their matches. If they did lose, it was by a disqualification or, you know, something along those lines. You know, you never saw them take the pin until it was time for them to lose the championship. And, you know, they were Axe and Smash were 3-time tag team champions. They deserve induction, and they are just two of many that, as far as I'm concerned, deserve induction. But I'm going to quit rambling now. I just kind of had that on my mind, and you know, Eric always says he wants a material for the page, for the channel. So I try to, you know, if I get something on my mind, I try to just let it out and say it. So I hope you all are not too bored by my ramblings. I hope you're not too irritated by my ramblings. You know, if you like them that much, though, if you really enjoy them, you know, please, you know, hit that like button. You know, leave a comment if you disagree with me on something. You know, I'm always up for a good debate or a good discussion on any topic involving the wrestling business. I, you know, also encourage you, if you want to challenge me on any of my trivia. If you think I've got a fact wrong, you know, by all means, please let me know. I have said before, I am not all-knowing. You know, I have been wrong before, and I have no doubt I will be wrong again. But, yeah, definitely, you want to challenge me, or if you want to see how much I know, you know, maybe you can send questions to the guys and have them, you know, test me again sometime. You know, I did it once before with them, and I would be up to do it again whenever the time would allow. So, anyway, if you've not done it yet, you know, for this channel, you know, please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit that wonderful notification bell so you can be informed when new content is posted up on the channel. And, you know, I look forward to, once again, rambling on with you. You all take care, and I look forward to chatting with you again.
Target. We about to target.